Okay, looks like most people are stopping, not looking anymore. So let's try to figure out what's most important. Did anybody spend all $100 on any one thing? Right? Did anybody think that one thing was worth all the points? Sometimes there's one of those in the crowd. How about 90? If percentage works better, right? 90%. 80? 70? 60? So there's something in sports that we always say, coaches always talk to each other about. If you emphasize a lot of things, you might not get a lot of anything. Right? So what we want to do is we want to figure out what's really important to us. 50% or more on any one thing. Because actually, all of those are really good outcomes. Right? I'd like all of those to eventually happen. Right? So you said 50. On what?
For me?
Yeah.
Gain self-confidence.
Gain self-confidence. Sports is a great place for kids to build self-confidence. Right? It's also a place where it can get torn down if you don't manage it properly. Right? So that's very common. Gain self-confidence. 50% or more, $50 or more on any one thing. Anybody else put anything down?
Learn teamwork.
Learn teamwork. We're going to need that in life, right? Learn teamwork. 50? Yes? Scholarship. That's reasonable, right? We can be realistic about some things and make sure that we're looking at possibilities, right? That certainly can be a goal. So 50? 50% on scholarship? Okay. 40 or more? 40%. $40 or more on any one thing. Yes?
Learn to deal with the heat.
Yeah, learn to deal with defeat. We're going to have some setbacks and failures in life, right, that our kids are going to have to learn to deal with, right? There's probably not a better place than youth and high school sports for kids to learn how to bounce back from setbacks, right? Where are we? Oh, this is a popular one. 33. Right? 33%. Right? A lot of people put 3 different things. 30%? 25. Anybody put anything that hasn't been mentioned yet? Yes? What?
I put others. I put experience.
The overall experience, right? There's a place for writing candidates at the bottom, right? Other is a good thing. Okay? Anything else that wasn't mentioned? Yes?
Learning how to balance your time.
Balance your time. You know, an interesting thing, several studies show that athletes actually do better during the season of sport than outside of the season of sport because they need to make sure that they manage their time properly so they get all their work done. When they have a whole lot of time and not a lot of idle time, sometimes they don't get to that work quite as often. So yeah, that's a great place to learn time management. Okay? I guess one of the reasons, probably the biggest reason why we do this activity is for you to examine what you really want out of sports for your kids. Right? Does anybody want your kid to have fun? Right? Nobody put any money on that. Right? I think that's what it is. A lot of times our haste to get good at something, right? We want to put in all this time and all this work and, the 10,000 hours to be an expert or proficient at something that they throw out that number all the time. All I know is I'm not doing anything for 10,000 hours unless it's fun first, right? So we've got to make sure that we keep that in the back of our mind, right? Remember those times when your kids first started playing, right? All the joyfulness that they had while they were competing and while they were playing and having a good time, right? We've got to remember that little kid is still out there, right? He's still deep inside. She's still deep inside your athlete. So we've got to make sure that we maintain that joy while trying to get all of these other things. But what you put as your priority should guide your discussions with your sons or daughters after games, in between games, right? Those are the things that we should talk about. If we're talking about self-confidence or teamwork or dealing with defeat, then we need to have conversations about those things, right? But a lot of times, we want to have conversations about tactics and strategy and substitution patterns and coaches' decisions and referee calls and whether or not we won or lost, when really we just got to finish writing down that there's a lot of qualities, there's a lot of things that we want to get out of sports that doesn't have anything to do with any of those things, right? Did anybody put win? Couple? Yeah? All right, well, keep an eye on each other during the season, right? In the stands, on who's concentrating on that one. But those are the things we want to talk about, right? We want to talk about the result and the win, rather than all of these things. These should guide your discussions. Here's a fun thing to do. In the very back of your book, there's another one of these for your child to fill out. So if you want a good discussion starter, right, you go home and you fill out yours, and then you give them the book and have them fill out the one in the back and match up your goals against their goals and see how they correspond, or maybe not, right? But it's certainly a good place to start that discussion, okay? So what we're saying has to go along with what we're doing. But the things that you said just now were important. That has got to be what our focus is when we have those discussions afterwards. And always remember to keep the big picture in mind, right? Understand that there's a lot of times when we're going to focus on what's more important for our kids, right? But there's a bigger picture involved. You'll hear a little bit from some of our National Advisory Board members. Here's Summer Sanders. She's an Olympic swimmer.
Parents play a very key role in their kids enjoying sports. I can only speak what my parents did, and my parents just, life didn't revolve around swimming. You know, yeah, it took up a ton of our time. Swimmers spend way too much time in the pool, but our life didn't revolve around it. So no matter what, if I had a good meet or a bad meet, we were still going to the pizza parlor at the end for the big party. And that, to me, just was like the grounding that I needed. So, you know, once we left the swimming, we didn't talk about swimming or times or disappointment or achievement or whatever. It was literally, what do you want on your pizza? And here's, 10 quarters to go play some video games. So I think what parents' role is really to be there when the kids need them, to support them and match their support and commitment to their sport. That's what my parents did. And most importantly, provide that other side of life. Make sure that their kids have a well-rounded, balanced life. Just
Well-balanced life, right? So again, focus on the big thing rather than just what the end result might be. We've made it past the threshold of 13 or 14, which is a good thing, right? Because 70% of kids drop out of sports before that age. So we've got there, that's an accomplishment that should be commended. That means we're doing something right. We haven't driven anybody off yet. But also along with that, understand that it's that support that you're given all the time that really makes the difference. I had a young player that played baseball for me. He was just another little guy that was just as good as everybody else. Anyway, long story short, he overachieves and ends up getting drafted and making it to the major leagues, and spent a few seasons with the Angels and the Dodgers. His name was Chris Pettit, and then an injury, kind of stopped his career. But when he was drafted, I went saw him play in Single A out in Rancho Cucamonga, and I asked, what was the deal? Because he, like I said, he wasn't even on an all-star team when he was 12. How did you do it? And he said, I always was really interested in how to do it at the next level. Coaches pushed me and made me stretch to figure out how they were going to do it at the next level. And my parents and my granddad were always there to support me. And I think that goes a long way, right? Just having somebody there to talk to and support them in a positive way during good times and during bad ones, so that we can make sure that kids maintain that joy of playing and want to be stretched. So again, it's a group effort. It's not just the kids, it's not just the coaches, it's the parents and the school, student body, and the administration that's going to give that kind of support to our kids as they move on. This